My name is Joy, and I'm a librarian at the Schusterman-Benson Library, and I'm here today to share some awesome 2020 fiction titles with you, proving, hopefully, that good things can in fact come from 2020. Here we go. First up, we have The Golden Cage by Camilla Läckberg. Camilla Läckberg is a Swedish crime writer. She's written about a dozen books. She is known as the thriller queen of Scandinavia. And this one, The Golden Cage, was written originally in 2019. It was translated into English and published here in 2020. It has been described as Gone Girl meets Big Little Lies. So even if I don't tell you anything else about the book, that right there might get you to go ahead and put it on hold and give it a go. After growing up in a small town, having a pretty rough childhood, our protagonist, Faye, earns herself a spot at the prestigious Stockholm School of Economics. While she's there, she meets her best friend, Chris, and her future husband, Jack. The three of them put together a pretty promising idea for a business. They begin to work on that in earnest, and before long, Faye has decided to leave school. She's waiting tables while the three of them work on their business, getting it off the ground. Fast forward about a decade or so, and their business is incredibly successful beyond their wildest dreams. They are all millionaires, and Faye now has her handsome, successful husband in Jack. They have a beautiful young daughter, an amazing home, and really, she wants for very little in her life. As you might expect, there are cracks in the facade, however. So not everything is as it seems in Faye and Jack's world. And this is a grass is not always greener situation. Now, this is a revenge story for the 21st century. It has a little bit of everything. It has money and sex and ambition, struggle, starting over, betrayal, you name it, it has it. It's a roller coaster of a story. I did not always agree with every decision that Faye made. However, I was rooting for her from the very beginning. It's a great escape book. If you want to live in somebody else's life for a few hours, it's really great for that. I will say, as much as I love the book, as soon as I was done, I was so grateful not to know or be involved with any one of those characters. But like I said, it was a really great escape. So that was The Golden Cage by Camilla Läckberg. That brings us to The Deep by Alma Katsu. This is a historical horror. It is richly detailed, incredibly well researched. It is an atmospheric story involving the supernatural and the Titanic. I personally am a shipwreck buff, so you had me at Titanic, but then you add ghosts to it, I'm in. Now, as I said, I have not started to dig into this one yet, but from what I have learned about it so far, this one is slow paced, it's very dense, it's gonna be a slow burn. So that might not appeal to some people who want to really dig into it and go fast and furious. This one, you're going to want to take your time with it, but from the reviews I've read, it is incredibly well researched, is very richly detailed, and for those who can handle the slow burn, I think that they will be richly rewarded. I'm really looking forward to digging into this one myself, and if you check it out, do let me know what you think of it. If you've already read it, I would love to hear your reviews on this one. So that is The Deep by Alma Katsu. Next up is The Switch by Beth O'Leary. Beth O'Leary's 2019 hit The Flat Share was a contemporary romantic comedy, as is this new one, but this new one is also so much more than that. It involves Lena, a 20-something overachiever who, when she blows a big presentation at her job, her employer highly encourages her to take 2 months off from work. Lena decides to leave London, fleeing for the comfort of her grandmother's house in Yorkshire. 79-year-old Eileen, her grandmother, is newly single and she'd like to try her hand at love again, but she sees very few prospects in her small village town. As the two women sit down to discuss where they both are in their lives, they decide to swap houses for 2 months that Lena is off. So Thus begins Eileen's big adventure in London. She moves into the flat with Lena's two flatmates in London. She shakes up the neighborhood and tries her hand at online dating while in the big city. Back in Yorkshire, Lena is expecting some rest, and things do not go according to plan in this small village. The Switch is funny, it's heartwarming, it's so much more than just a contemporary romance. As I mentioned, it deals with grief and loneliness and second chances and mental illness. It manages to do so in a very funny yet heartwarming way, and it just touched all those emotional buttons for me. That brings us to The Vacation by T.M. Logan. This one was originally published in England as The Holiday. Here we have Kate, who is turning 40. She really wants to celebrate her 40th birthday in a huge way. She's decided that she and her three best friends and their partners and all of their children are going to travel from their England homes to the south of France. They have rented a private French villa along the Mediterranean. They are all going to stay there for a week of relaxation and luxury. The very first day of their trip, they've just arrived. Kate accidentally intercepts a text message on her husband's phone. He's having an affair with one of the three best friends who is on this trip with them. She doesn't know which one. That's the thing. So Kate has to decide if she wants to confront her husband right away, or if she wants to lay low just long enough so she can try and figure out which of the three best friends on this trip is betraying her by having an affair with her husband. This one was really fun. It was a great escape. Why should you read it? It's a free trip to the Mediterranean. Don't we all really love places right now? And who doesn't want to go to the Mediterranean? No, you do not want to be Kate, but I really was gripped on this story from the very beginning. They eat lots of cheese. They drink lots of wine. This one's just a really quick read. It's a great escape. So check this one out. It's The Vacation by T.M. Logan. Our next book is called The Lions of Fifth Avenue by Fiona Davis. Now, Fiona Davis has written several historical New York City fiction titles, including The Address, The Doll House, The Chelsea Girls, and The Masterpiece. This one, The Lions of Fifth Avenue, is actually about the stone lions outside the New York Public Library branch on Fifth Avenue. And there are two timelines in this one, the first of which is shortly after that New York Public Library branch has opened. In 1913, Jack and his wife Laura and their two kids actually live on site in an apartment inside the library building. Jack is the building superintendent. Side note, there is an actual space that was used as such in the New York Public Library building on Fifth Avenue in the early days of the library. It is no longer used as such, but if you want to do a historical deep dive, that is factually based, and I find it incredibly interesting. So do take a look at that if it interests you as well. But back to Jack and Laura. During their time at the New York Public Library, while Jack is superintendent, a few first edition library books began disappearing. And because of his access, Jack is the obvious first suspect. Fast forward to our second timeline, which is in 1993. Laura's granddaughter, Sadie, is now a first edition rare book curator at the same library branch. And during her time at the New York Public Library in the 90s, once again, first editions begin disappearing from the library, and we begin alternating from the two timelines from granddaughter to grandmother and so forth throughout the story until we finally see those storylines intersect. Read this one if you like books, if you like libraries, if you like mysteries, or if you like family secrets. This has a great mystery to be solved in two different timelines, and you get to watch several generations of a single family throughout the 20th century. I really think that bibliophiles will all enjoy this one, and it gives some really great historical details into the first few years of the New York Public Library. Check this one out. That wraps up my selections for awesome 2020 fiction. If you're interested in any of the books I discussed today, check out my complete list, which includes all 6 of those titles, plus a few bonus titles. And you can check all of those out or place them on hold at tulsalibrary.org. If you've read some awesome 2020 fiction, or if you've read one of the books I talked about, please comment and tell me what you thought, or give some suggestions for books that you think others should read. Next time, we will have Heather Lozano. She will be discussing books that intersect with the world of music. Have a great day and keep reading.